Hey guys, welcome back to another video with Tech Motorsports. I'm Eb, and this is my 26-foot enclosed trailer that has pretty much rotted away. All the previous wood that was in here has pretty much just got wet from the roof leaking, and I had to replace it. It was getting really bad to where the sidewalls were starting to get a little bit mold on it. As I stated before, in my introduction video, that I'm going to go and try to make this into somewhat of a sleeper type deal. So I'm going to have some fold-out couches and hopefully a mini fridge, that kind of stuff. That way I could stay in it when we're at the races. So where I'm currently at is I've already removed the thin wood that's between the truss and the skin itself. So what I'm going to end up doing is finish taking some of this wood off, and I'm going to be patching the roof. I'm not going to be replacing the roof. This is it is a budget build. I have to maintain a budget on this because I just can't go out there and spend a lot of money on this thing. So I'm going to be doing stuff that this will be the first time I would be doing some of this stuff, so I'm learning as I go as well, and I'm hoping you guys, don't think I'm crazy for it, but unfortunately, it's got to work. It's a patch job for the most part, so I will be patching the holes that have appeared from the screws holding the wood in place. There was no barrier between the screw and the metal roof, so after time they end up rubbing a hole. So I'm going to take care of that as well. I've been doing a little bit of thinking, a little bit of researching, and trying to figure out what would be my best scenario for it, and I think I've got a couple ideas that are going to work. Everbond being the biggest thing out there that everybody just craves about, the best thing out in the market. So I'm going to go ahead and get that applied. I already ordered the items, they're already here. And no, Everbond is not sponsoring or anything like that. It's just, what people say. So we're gonna move on with that. So I'm gonna grab a couple little items, get situated, and then start patching the roof. Stay tuned. So here's the game plan. I got my thin sheet metal, and I got my spray adhesive, rust for the metal to prevent it from rusting again, self-leveling sealant, some big gap spray, and the big mamma jamma, the Everbond, and some snips, of course. So the game plan is to cut about 2-inch square sections of the sheet metal, and I am going to adhesive them from the inside to the roof. I'm going to leave the holes with a little bit of a cone shape. So I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to fill it up with the sealant, level sealant. And then after all that is done, I will then go over and put a section over that self-leveling sealant with the Everbond. So it would be a patch. So yes, the roof will look patched, but hopefully the way I'm going to be doing this, it will last a long time. Again, all these items were picked up at a local hardware store. So let me go get some pieces already cut out. Like I stated before, I have 14 holes that I got to cut 2-inch square pieces out. So let me begin. All right, guys. So I end up cutting my little squares to patch the holes up. I didn't do 2-inch. I did 3 by 3, just to give me a little bit more ground coverage. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove the vents, both vents, and I'm going to replace this wood structure that holds the vent in place with a metal structure. I'm going to weld it into these beams. The reason being is this will have an AC unit for sure, and then the second one, it will be pre-wired, so I could add an AC unit down the road. Don't know if I'll be able to add one during the build, but at least I'll have it available down the road for an install. So that way I just drop it in. It's going to be much more sturdier instead of the wood in the movement, because I do have a plan also when it's in there and it's welded and the AC unit sitting on top, the gap between the rafter and the roof, it will have a padding over it so it can still flex for the hot temperatures and cold temperatures. So that way it's not super tight and we end up having issues, stuff pulling out and that kind of thing. So going to the roof and start taking these things out. Hey guys, how you doing? So here I am on the ladder on the front section of the trailer, and just look at all the rust, which starts from here. That's what just was leaking into the trailer. Once I took all the sealant that was on there, that's when I discovered it. So the sealant, the water was just leaking through it, underneath it, and it was just going inside. So that's the reason why I have this big huge mess on my hands. Again, like I stated earlier, this is going to be a repair. I am not going to replace the whole skin of the roof. So here's the rear section of the roof, where the tailgate goes, and as you can see, the water was still leaking through there as well, and it really just started covering the upper structure completely with rust. I got to the point to where I even put a nice little hole on that one. So that whole section right there will be replaced. So with the gate closed, you know, these gates are notorious for water still leaking down. Even though it does have a little lip to go past the door, the water would still get in there, and behind all the wood and on the bottom section, it would just, technically the water would just accumulate, and it just rotted that whole 1.5 metal section of the tailgate on the lower section. So this piece right here will have to be technically made from scratch. I will end up reusing some of it, as I could go ahead and clean that, but yeah, this one's going to be a doozy. I got to get this one done soon, as I have to use the trailer in April, or would like to use the trailer in April. We'll see how things pan out. So here's a view from the inside of the trailer looking out towards the front cap, and you can see all of that daylight. Welcome back, guys. It's been a handful of days here lately. We've gotten a little bit of some rainage, so I haven't really been able to move forward. I did do a couple little things though, but what I've got is I went ahead and put my plates up. I don't know if you can see this one. It's just mainly more to assist the sealant, that kind of stuff, and just to cover up the hole from the inside. Really nothing major. There's no screws that's going to go back on there, so you know, it's just mainly more an extra precaution. So what I've also done is I've already cut this section here out of metal and tack welded it. So I'm going to put metal on here instead of just the wood. And before I do that, I have the sheets of plywood that's going to go between as a barrier between the rafters and the actual skin of the roof. So I'm going to put that on, drill my hole here, and get ready to hopefully seal the front section, the holes all the way up to about the second vent, because I do have to go get a couple more items. Plus, I know on the rear section I have to lift and kind of pull back the roof a little bit so I can cut away some of that bad rotted metal. So stay tuned for more. Okay, so 2 more pieces will get me all the way towards the end with some some to spare. Just trying to put it back like it was OEM, minus the screws that are going to rub through the roof. But I got the pieces all the way forward. That will help absorb some of the gap up front with the rusted area. I will be putting something up there as a space, so that way when I do put the ceiling on there, it's not up high, even though it still has a profile that goes over it. So yeah, so I am going to go up to the roof and I'm going to cut the slot for my AC unit now, and get going from there. So hang tight. So I got me a hole in the roof. All right, so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to finish welding the whole entire piece that's going to go here for the AC unit, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to end up wire brushing this clean here on this side as well, throw some weldable primer behind it, and finish welding this in place, and then that will be done, and start working my way down onto the next one. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean this area up. This is where I'm going to weld what I will call the AC mount unit now. So I'm going to clean that up, spray the primer on there, and get ready to, well, I got to roll the thing all the way out here, so I got to figure that part out, the welder that is. So let's get to it. Alright, what I did with a wire brush is pretty much what I'm going to have to end up doing to all the bare metal. So that way when it's all cleaned up, I'll be able to spray the anti-rust prohibitor. So yep, it's going to be a long day when that day comes. But I'm going to go ahead and grab that piece. Okay, so I got it up already. I went ahead and sprayed my weld through primer. Got that right here. So I did the sections there, and also I did the welding primer on these right here on 4 corners, and I've already went ahead and painted this the actual brace already black with the anti-rust stuff. So I'll go back, and once everything is all cleaned up, whatever items need to be touched up, I'll touch up. But at least now I know that the top side, the inside, it's already sprayed, so I know it's a good coat. So get that done. So I'm going to go ahead and tack her in place. All right. Oh, so much better. The other one has the wood. I don't know if I showed it or not, but with it just jumping up and down, it's just going to be so much more sturdier when the AC unit's on. So, sweet. I'm going to go ahead and fully weld it up, and at this point I have to go to the store and go get more materials. So hold on for the next part. All right, here's the second air vent bracket. So that one's already welded in, and looks great. I already went ahead and put all the wood in place as well, as it would come standard. And there is the one in the front I'll put in. So I just sprayed the areas where just where I end up cleaning off and welding. So I just left it as that, and the wood goes all the way towards the front, just like it did originally. So now I just got to go up to the roof and seal, because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. So I got to get that done. So stay tuned for more. All right, guys. So this is what I ended up doing before the rain came down. is I ended up wire wheeling, cleaning up the areas where I was going to put the Eternal Bond tape on, and I did them on all of the sections on the trailer that technically where our screw was. Even if it did or didn't have a hole, I went ahead and put it on there just I guess to make it a little even, that way there's not missing pieces. I also went ahead and did the roof hatches. Both of them are done that way with the Eternal Bond tape, so that way the wood and all that is just going to be sealed. Seems to be pretty good. It's really sticky and holds up very well. So I did not put the leveling ceiling in like I was planning on, due to I was going to need a lot more time and I needed to get the stuff done. But to be honest with you, the tape itself, it'll work. Like I said, I cleaned the area up, so it's gonna stick to it. It's not dirty surface, is completely clean. So so yeah, so I'm gonna finish doing the front. That's my next section, is I gotta clean that up. I covered the whole front end up so that wouldn't get any rain in there, but that is the next section I gotta clear up. Okay guys, for what I'm doing now is I've decided to put a section on the outside all the way across to go ahead and cover the bad spots. It was just a lot of it, and I didn't feel comfortable just using the sealant to cover it all, because what I'm worried is it flexing and bowing a little bit and then technically separating, and it could cause an issue down the road. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to cut sections out all the way the length of the whole width of the trailer. So it should cover from this section up here, coming out about 2 inches past the bad spot. And then what I'm going to do is then just going to clean all the stuff off, which is I'm doing now. All the sealant that's in there between the roof and this section here. That way when I put the new pieces on and seal it both underneath that and on top as well for this section, I should get a nice good clean seal from one side to the other side. So I'm going to start continue scraping like I was doing previously. Alright, so now that I've done with the inside, I'm going to jump up in on the roof and do the bottom side of the roof. And since I got a little bit more space, I'm going to try and put a gap here and try to clean up the area and also spray some of the rust preventative rust prohibitor. So since I am doing this, I'm going to have a little bit more of a gap here. That's going to give me the ability to give me some space, clean it up really good, and use some of the rust paint. That way I can take as much off as possible, and now the underneath between the roof and that bar will be protected. As it won't be completely protected, but it'll have some protection on it, because that was one thing that I was worried about at the beginning when cleaning everything else out. That was going to be one section that I can't get to, which in all honesty, all of them up from the roof, you know, if they got water, I'm sure there's probably some corrosion in there. Okay, so what I was able to do was clean that beam on the top side with some 8-grit sandpaper and some scuff pad, that kind of stuff, just to knock off the loose rust, surface rust that's on there. And I pried in between these and put screwdrivers in between here so I could get all the way in there. And I went from the front side and the back side so that I could get much coverage on it. Figured I'd just lay it on thick because I can't see what it's covering, and hopefully that'll work. And one can in that little area is probably gonna be awesome. This is just in here is all I sprayed, so I pretty much almost used 3/4 of a can is what I end up using. The more I got in there, the more it soaked in there, the better off I am down the road. So Alright, so I went ahead and got everything all cleaned up with a wire wheel, both the underneath here, on top as well here. Should be pretty clean. Like I was stating, I'm just going to end up putting 5-inch strips here and all the way across, and I will seal those in place and use the screws to bite it down. And then there's a profile that goes on top of that, and then I'll end up adding more sealant between here and the other piece. So yep, let's keep going. Alright, while I was off camera, we got a small little shower. Dang it, talk about messing up with my my roll that I was on. So here's my profile. It's cleaned, a little wet. I'm about to dry it off. So sun's starting to come back out, thank goodness. So what I'm going to finish on is getting this down. I got to get the 2 screws on here to bring this back down. I got to put the sealant on that side. I already got sealant on this side, and then I'll be able to put that profile back on and close this down. Which, as you can see, I don't know if you can see very well, but there is sealant between here, between these plates, and underneath, and all of the edges. So fingers crossed. Okay, so I got it. I got the 2 screws secure. So now I'm just going to go through and put the profile, put some more here, more sealant, and then fasten this whole thing down. And I got to figure out how to make sure I get these plates down as well. That way, when I put the internal bond on, it's going to go from here all the way to here, and that way I know it covers up the whole entire thing. So let me get yep, gonna need another one of these. Well, here we go. Had to move everything, had to make this quick. It's starting to rain again, very lightly though, so I get it all sealed. She's looking pretty good. Oh yeah. Alright, so gonna let this dry off. Hopefully tomorrow or next day it'll be dry enough to where I can put some internal bond on.